Hey, you're flying high tonight. Got the wind under your wings just right. Right here on the Koyote Medicine Show. Only on the Hazy Radio Network with your host, Grandpa Peter Coyote, helping you take that flight and get it just right. Rock means, you know, right there in our heart, our very own person is where we start. You know, here in this heart, this one heart in us all. It's pure, it's sweet, it's natural, and above all, innocent in its love. That, my babies, is the mother's love. Pure innocence. In this world, it's been made to seem a scheming thing. Something that had to claw to get its way to the top. Total opposite of what it truthfully is. That's an image, man, that just plain stinks. And we don't want to be there ever. You know, that's just not an acceptable accommodation in any way. You know, rather be born in a barn, you know, than to stay in that hotel, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. She's us, man. I'm telling you. Whew. What a mystery, you know, but what a farce in the mystery. We let go now of anything undivine in that history. You know, we go back and unravel the great mystery inside of ourselves. Because we already know the real history, and it ain't what they're feeding us at all. It's far greater than any of us could really imagine. We've been put to sleep in a big way the last 6,000 years, 7,000 years or so. We have been sleepwalking. That's why I call it the age of darkness. Doesn't mean it's evil. It means we didn't know anything. Our innocence was lost, and we had to define and judge and shit to get through this survival thing. Wow. And some of us become schemers, and some of us become not so schemers. It drove us to extremes. So we had, you know, for a long time, the vast majority of the heart divided off in that scheming way, you know, became kind of cold and restless and unhappy within itself, and just seemed to get worse and worse before it ever get better. But then there would come these sparkling moments in time where a being would arise from amongst us, often a female, but sometimes a male with a female behind them, you know. The feminine energy was bringing itself back into being, a little piece at a time, through our real history. And she's been there all along, supporting us through our darkest ages. Caveman was caring compared to what we've done to one another in the last 200 years. Think of the horrible wars, let alone how our personal treatment of one another has degenerated so greatly as the increasingly bulk of the population got isolated in Urbania and began to feel as if they were the only ones amongst millions, amongst hundreds of thousands of little boxes around them. You know, you can be that isolated that you want to cause harm to others in order to get ahead and so forth. I mean, we have lived quite a crazy place, and thank God for those spaces where those divine feminine energies came in and softened the blow greatly and supported us through the hardest parts of it, and died graciously so many times. And we honor that now from the fullness of our heart. You know, because it's just a dramatic poetry, but oh, it runs deep. It runs harsh in our memories. And we have to now see with purity, with our innocent eyes, the truth of that history, and understand then the divine nature in it, and bless what we've done to one another, and see how through our harshness we've brought out the graciousness, and now can enter gently into a time of graciousness and remain there forevermore, graciously growing and being who we are. Now that's medicine, I tell you, right here on the Koyote Medicine Show, only on the Hazy Radio Network. Grandpaw Koyote reflecting your heart back to you tonight. Help you remember the wings that grew so you could make this flight. The strength and durability of the hearts that have carried through very dark times to bring us to these times of where the divine unwinds right inside of us and real miracles happen routinely, where what is known as paranormal now becomes not just normal, but only an indication of what's truthfully here. As the veil falls from our eyes and the love does arise inside, just like Venus births from that flower. Looks like a clamshell, but I'll call it a flower. Babies, you rock, because we are one heart, graciously growing together in the way that we meant to from the start. We got sidetracked and lived through a whole different paradigm than what we ever anticipated. It's been a little crazy here, babies. But poetically so. We can bless this now from our heart and be over with it, be done with it. It's time to walk the path of our truth now, to let that glow from inside of us, to let it be seen and known everywhere that we happen to be, and everywhere that we're supposedly not. We're everywhere anyway. Let this be felt. Let this be known. It will not attract to you the things we used to do. This day and age, different time. Culmination of the ages and generations. But you have to live this, to see this, to know this, and have to, again, I hesitate to use those words, but you see it. You live it. Because it is your love in motion, dear. It is. But we are united, reunited, undivided. And that's what's given birth to this new great innocence that changes the ways of the ages and dispenses with that old lust forevermore. It becomes the dust of stardust, of magic dust, the things we sprinkle on reindeer to get them to fly, stuff like that. See, it all has its value, it all has its place. We just have to see through the lie, regenerate. No, we are undivided. Let go then of the thing inside that says you're lonely, because you're not. You're together with it all. You're just beginning to understand that, to really be that. It's the most pleasant place you could ever experience. The fears were howling while the dogs were growling. You know, it was all a great dream that we created for ourselves to live in. It's been awesome. We made it through the nightmare aspect of it. We walked through the valley of the shadow of death many times over. We didn't even see evil, let alone fear it. We didn't know it. We only saw human hearts working together in a singular motion to bring forward the dissolution of the contrary way and the resolution, the resurrection of the light of love in every way, in everything that lives. So that no longer would there ever be a sense of isolation. But had we not known this isolation, there would not have been a preservation. We wouldn't have known we could step off some awful precipices and hurt ourselves pretty greatly, along with a lot of others. So we chose to do it this way, wise or intelligent, or whatever. We did it. And now we can undo it. It's all coming undone inside of us anyway. The old ways are melting away fast. Watch your passions. They can swing greatly in times like this, but notice they've been swinging forever, and the swing is more to the center now, you see. Just let it roll. Don't ever fight or resist, but don't go with insanity either. Just let those things flow by, but the ones that make sense, that come from your heart, that awaken passions you haven't known for a long time, let these come to the fore. They're leading you in a direction, and you may not have the right idea about it just yet, but let it just keep flowing. This is why I don't resist. If it's love, I flow in that direction. I'm like the seas. The wind can move me easily, yet in my depths I'm solidly seated in the heart, the universal heart. So what you see blowing around up here in these waves and stuff, that's movement and motion in the world of drama, of experience, the dream that we create, and we are the keepers of that dream. The waves that blow back and forth through the realms of experience. You know, we brought all of that to ourselves, magically so, because the wind's always with us, whichever way it blows, or the ocean. And each of us a little drop in that ocean, powerful enough to dry up the whole thing and bring it into one drop, or expansive enough to drown the universe with it, but in a sheer act of love, not destruction. What that means is we're fluid, we're flexible. We can be as big and as little as we want to be, and anything in between. We're the ocean, the single drop in the ocean, and the whole ocean as a body, as a person. And each of us is that very ocean. Each of us is seated and grounded in the organic, deeply so. So much so that our heart is there. And now, in those darker places where it's resided, we bring the greatest of light, the sweetest of love, to the darkest of things inside of our beings, inside of this ocean that we are. And appreciating the beauty we find there, we transform that to the beautiful. It never should have been misperceived as something otherwise. But so here we are, undoing the darkness. In the light there is no darkness. The shadow dissolves. There is contrast. There is shading. There is shape and form. There is feeling. There is love in everything. All things in this dynamic, divinely rooted and inspired, the same as the ocean living upon its heart, even when it thought it very dark. Honeys, we're more than love. We're more than life. We're the solution we've always sought. We're the carrying beings that all we have to do is let it shine. And we've been sore afraid to do so until the confidence of those around us began to increase to the point where we became comfortable enough to let it loose again. Well, here we are at that time, undivided from it all. Our restless soul finding its settling, and guess where? Inside of ourselves. The very place we started from. Wow, how about that? Big old loops through the sky, again and again, huh? My oh my, how high we do fly. Oh babies, you got the right guy, you got the right heart, you got the right start tonight. In your heart. Babies, it shines bright. It is the birth of Venus in every right. And why not? I mean, it's a Koyote Medicine Show. What do you want? You know, didn't you haven't had to buy a ticket yet. Just wait a while. Oh, babies, we're shining bright. And Grandpa, he's feeling happy tonight. Feeling very expansive and glowing. You guys are radiating so much love in this direction, so much light. You're expanding, opening. I feel it all across the earth once again. Handfuls of people awakening. Beautiful sight. Beautiful heart. Beautiful feelings. Feelings of calmness and centering going out from individual persons united in the heart and touching all the hearts across the face of this earth. There will be a gentling down. There is this time of transition that we're in already. And in order to accommodate our needs sufficiently here as far as transition, we've got to let it gentle down just a bit, you know, so that we can take the next steps and do the things we've always wanted to do. Because finally our time has arrived. We don't have to hide anymore. We can grow right up, blossom right out, be the beautiful flowers of life that we are. And in so doing, encourage the whole field to begin its blossoming as well. We're like the first flowers. You know, the daring ones that come forward before the chance the frost is gone completely. You know, because we can do that, we get out the mojo that gets all the rest of them going, babies. And pretty soon, the whole field, wow, spectacular blossom, such beauty and fragrance unparalleled in the reality of time. Good grief and mercy me, ain't that one that sets you free? Reunited, undivided, right here, tonight, for real, on the Koyote Medicine Show, only on the Hey Z Radio Network.
Hey, witch doctor, give us the magic words.
Alright, you go ooh, ooh, ah, ah, ting, ting, walla, walla, bing, bing.
Alright. Ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ting, ting, walla, walla, bing, bang. Ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ting, ting, walla, walla, bang, bang.